Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we'll take some exercises on Unit-3 which is titled If It Hadn't Happened. All you need for the lesson today is your books on Unit-3, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. Let's get started with these exercises. In this semester, we have taken 3 units so far. The first one was about complaints. The second one was about I wonder what happened. 3 was about if it hadn't happened. And the fourth unit will be about what they said. Our focus today will be on Unit 3, which is if it hadn't happened. So, how are we going to do it? We will focus on the self-reflection part from Unit 3, which is actually on page 47. We're going to go over these objectives and we will refer to them every now and then. So let's get started with the self-reflection on page 47. At the beginning, we have discussed on page 34, we have talked about some discoveries and inventions and how things would have been different without them. At the beginning we differentiate between what is an invention and what is a discovery. A discovery is something that we have found ourselves. We haven't made them. Just like new countries, new lands, or maybe medications. They were there and we have found them. However, for the idea of invention, we have made them. We have made them from scratch, like the idea of car. It hadn't been found anywhere. We have made it. So it is actually an invention. We have invented it. What about Australia? Let's try to categorize these things. Australia, was it a discovery or invention? It was there and we found it. So it was a discovery. How about a car? It is actually an invention. The DNA, it is in our bodies and we have found it. So it is a discovery. How about the TV? It wasn't anywhere. We came up with it. So it is an invention. Airplanes are actually, they are inventions. How about electricity? Electricity was there and we have found it. So electricity is actually a discovery. Gravity is a discovery. As well, we're having cell phones. They are inventions. Computers are inventions. And the penicillin is actually a discovery. Just think about it. Was it found or was it made? And you will be able to differentiate between them. Okay, how would our lives look like without these inventions? Let's imagine how would our lives will look like without electricity. No electricity in our daily life. So what could have happened? If we haven't discovered electricity, people would probably still be using candles or gas lights. Maybe our daily routine will be totally different than the one that we are adopting these days. So it will be totally different. Is our life going to be better or worse? For me, I believe it will be worse. However, maybe others will say it will be good. How about the internet? What would our lives be like without the internet? Let's go back to the past and we will cancel the internet from our lives. How would our lives look like? If we haven't invented or haven't found the internet, people in their homes wouldn't be able to be in contact with the entire world. We wouldn't be able to communicate with people who are far away if they are not connected by the internet. How about our lives without the penicillin? What if, let's say, Fleming hadn't discovered the penicillin? How our lives will look like? What would life be like without penicillin? Without penicillin, people would have died at earlier ages. Also, millions of people would have died from infections. Maybe the life ranges will be less than the life range than today. People would have died from, let's say, minor injuries from infections. Then you will be able to use collocations or make collocations. We're having oil, electric, as well as heavy. Try to match these words with as many words as possible to come up with collocation. What is a collocation? We're having two words that will be connected together and they will come up with a new meaning. Maybe when we say oil, oil well, so a well of oil. It is commonly used together. Let's start with oil. We're having oil rig, as well as oil deposit, oil products, and we're having oil well and oil field. You can search and find as much as you can find from words that are related, collocations with the word oil. Then we're having electric, electric power, electric charge, electric iron, electric cooker, or electric appliance. Anything that you can connect it, a noun that you can connect it with electric. Electric device, electric car. How about heavy? A heavy machinery, the machines that are so heavy. Also, heavy industry, industry that is heavy. Heavy metal, heavy material, and we're having a heavy load. Heavy is the opposite of light, heavy and light. And you can search and find as much of collocations that are related to heavy, electric, or we're having oil. Okay, let's continue. On page 34, we have recognized some inventions and discoveries. Let's try to solve these riddles. You will read a description of a discovery or an invention, then you will come up with the name of this discovery or invention. The first one is actually the thing that made transport of heavy loads and people possible. It made it possible for people to transport, to go from one place to the other. Which invention? We can speak in here about the wheel. It was the beginning or the start of the ability to transport people from one place to the other. So it is actually the wheel. How about the medication that helped combat infections and saved life? The idea of combat, to lessen, to reduce it. So which medicine? We're speaking about a drug or a medication that combated in here the infection, related to the idea of infection, diseases. It is actually the penicillin. When Fleming found out about it, he discovered it, he had saved many lives. Which one is the glass object that makes it possible for us to light dark places? So something that is glass, that it can light up dark places. It depends on electricity. Speaking here about the light bulb. So it is the light bulb. How about the fourth one? The valuable stone that is often used in jewelry. It is a stone, not metal. So a stone that is used in jewelry, this one we call it the diamond, and this one is a diamond. So it was discovered as well. So you can make a riddle based on what you've got, whether it's a discovery or an invention, come up with a sentence and come up with your riddle. On page 35, we have discussed talking about missed opportunities and regrets. If you have missed something and you feel sorry for doing or not doing it, this is the idea of regret. You wouldn't feel happy. How would you express regret? You will use whether should or shouldn't in the negative. I shouldn't have done that, followed by have, then the past participle tense of the verb. The past participle tense of the verb, which is verb number 3. An example for that, we can say, I should have said sorry. I didn't say that in the past, and now I feel sorry for not saying that. And I shouldn't have shouted at her. I shouted at my sister yesterday, and today I feel sorry. What have we done in here? We have used should or shouldn't based on the meaning. Have, always have, then the past participle tense of the verb. past participle tense. Said, yelled, or shouted. Then, page 35, what would you have done differently? We will read the situation in here, then you will feel like you will express the regret based on the meaning. Number 1, we ordered Chinese food, but it wasn't good. I regret that I ordered it. I wish that I had done something different. So we will say in here, we shouldn't have ordered Chinese food. We should have ordered pizza. Shouldn't, should, then it will be followed by have and the past participle tense of the verb. We should have, we shouldn't have. How about the second one? I missed a class yesterday because I overslept. Then I will say, I should have slept earlier and I shouldn't have stayed up late. You, based on the meaning, you will use should or shouldn't, followed by have, then the past participle tense of the verb, stayed and slept. Then I didn't expect any calls, so I switched off my phone. My friend kept calling me about a school project and couldn't get through. So I shouldn't have switched off my phone. I should have turned it on as soon as my friend called me. So we have used should, have, and the past participle tense of the verb. On page 36, here we have discussed the idea of using should plus have and the past participle to express regret. Let's read the sentences, then you will come up with the regret in here. Jan lent April some money, but she never paid her back. The regret is about giving her the money. So we will say that Jane shouldn't have lent April the money. Should, shouldn't, have, then lent. Shouldn't have lent. Shouldn't have loaned or given her the money. The following, number 2, Brad forgot his key, so he broke the window to get into the house. Now, because he forgot his keys, he had to break into the house. So the regret will be, Brad shouldn't have forgotten his keys. He should have remembered to take his keys with him. So in here, we have used shouldn't, then have, and the past participle. You can come up with sentences like, he should have remembered. He shouldn't have jumped into his house. Also, on page 36, we have used the conditional sentences for hypothetical situations in the past. The idea of hypothetical is something that we are imagining, not real. However, we're going to imagine things in the past, not in the present. Like, if he had explained it to the officer, he would have excused him. He didn't tell the truth to the officer, however, the officer or the police officer didn't excuse him. What have we used in here? He didn't explain it to the officer, so he didn't understand him. We can tell that the F conditional will start with F with the past perfect, had, plus the past participle tense of the verb, followed by would have, the past participle, would have done something, would have excused him, or wouldn't have excused him. Let's try to answer these questions. What if the remote control hadn't been invented? Let's go to the past and we will cancel the remote control from our history. What could have happened in our present? So we will say, if the remote control hadn't been invented, people would have to get up and change channels manually while watching TV. Past perfect, had been invented. We have cancelled it, so hadn't been invented. Then the answer will be, notice the comma, would have to do something. Would have to do this or to do that. What if air conditioning hadn't been invented? Let's imagine our lives today without the invention which is in the past. We will cancel the past invention which is the air conditioners. If air conditioning hadn't been invented, it wouldn't have been possible for people to live in very hot or very cold areas, because it helped them to live in these areas. So the answer had been would not have been possible. How about number 3? What if gold hadn't been discovered? We will go to the past and we will cancel gold from the past. Then, if gold hadn't been discovered, a number of countries would have remained poor. So many countries today, these countries depend on gold, would be poor because they don't have the gold. Page 36 as well, we can use could or might for the conditional sentences instead of would. So you can use would, might, or we can use could as well. What would you do? Imagine in this situation. If they had told the truth, someone hadn't told the truth and they were in trouble. If they had told the truth, what could have happened? They could have saved themselves. They didn't save themselves, or they wouldn't have been in trouble by now. We have used could and would, have saved and have been. Number 2, if I hadn't passed the test, I passed it. However, if I hadn't passed it, I might have been taking it again now. Or I could have felt okay. I couldn't have felt okay. I would have felt bad for not passing. Might or could, then always have, been, and felt the past participle tense of the verb. How about number 3? If I had had enough money, I don't have enough money, but if I had, I could have bought a car. I can't buy a car because I don't have enough money. I wouldn't be in trouble now. We have used would and could plus have and the past participle tense of the verb. You can use the past participle tense of the verb. So you have three options, whether would, could, or might. You can choose between them based on the meaning that you want to use. On page 44, we have discussed the use of the present perfect and the past simple with the keywords ago, for, and since. We have differentiated between the two, simple past and present perfect. The past simple or the simple past, like the example, he borrowed money last week. And the present perfect, we have been friends for a long time. What is the difference between these two sentences? To form the past simple, all you need is to use the past tense of the verb. Borrow, borrowed. Verb number 2. And for the present perfect, you will use has or have, present, then followed by the past participle tense of the verb. Have been. This is the past participle, which is been, and we have started with have because we've got we. We have been friends for a long time. However, both of these actions happened in the past. How can I differentiate when to use the past simple or the present perfect? Depending on the time expression. When the time is given, the exact time is given, like in here, last week. So use the simple past as your correct answer. However, if we don't have a very specific time, we will use the exact time. We will use like long time. It's not a specific time, so you will use the present perfect tense. What are some of the key words for the simple present? We can use yesterday, 2010, as well as 2 weeks ago. I know when, I can tell you at this exact time. However, keywords for the present perfect will be for or since, before, after, and others. But let's focus on for and since. Let's try to do this exercise in your book's page 44, and we will highlight the keywords. My best friend borrowed money from me 2 weeks ago. Our keywords in here is, the keyword is 2 weeks ago. That's why I have used borrowed, not had. Then, I lent him more that day. This is my keyword, that day. That's why I have used Lent. Followed by, we decided to eat at a pizza restaurant that day, yesterday, 2 weeks ago. So we decided. However, for the present perfect, I have saved money for months. Look for months. For how long? Only months. 2, 3, it's not specific. So have saved. The following, and here we can use we have been friends for a long time, as well as I have trusted him since I knew him. So here we have trusted, have been friends, and have trusted for the present perfect tense. Okay, now let's try to use the present perfect or the past simple to complete this paragraph. People try to keep cool and keep their food cool for ages, a long time, and this is my keyword, which is for. So you can use the present perfect tense. People, more than one, so have, and the past participle, tried. The Chinese invented ice cream 4,000 years ago. When? This specific time. 4,000 years ago. So they invented. Moreover, they kept it in snow in underground chambers. In Baghdad in the 8th century, this is my time, the 8th century, a king imported, because I have a specific time, imported snow and put it in the walls of summer home to cool the home. In 1834, notice that we're having a specific time, specific year. Jacob Perkins built a machine to make ice in London. The first home refrigerators appear 1920s. So this is my specific time. I will say it appeared. So it appeared. Just read the whole sentence. Does it speak about a very specific time, or we don't have a specific time? And you can decide. Okay, let's continue. Using the F with the past perfect. So talk about some past inventions and speculate about what wouldn't be able to do now without them. So, if Alexander Graham Bell hadn't invented the telephone, people wouldn't have been able to communicate. So we have used the past perfect, however, as a result, we're speaking about ability, wouldn't have been able to do something. Not being able to do something today because of something that hadn't happened in the past. Also, if the wheel hadn't been invented, we wouldn't have been able to communicate and see other people. Also, if oil hadn't been discovered, we wouldn't have been able to use cars. So we will go to the past and cancel one invention, then we will check our abilities in the present and use wouldn't have been able to do a certain thing. Here, let's try to do this exercise. If he get better mark, he attend university. He didn't get a better mark, now he couldn't attend university. So we will say, if he had got a better mark, he would have been able to attend. So we have used past perfect in here, then the result would have been, then in here we have the ability, able to do something. The other one, if he learned swimming, he swim now. We're having in here, had learned swimming, you're having the past perfect tense, then present, would be able to swim. He would be able to swim by now. So we're changing the present. Speaking about how to express ability, permission, and requests, we're having 3 functions. We can use can, could, or may. For all these functions, you can use them all. So, for the ability, we can speak about using can. I can swim today, and in the past, I could swim when I was 5, speaking about the past. Then, speaking about permission, whether you would allow someone or you wouldn't allow them, permission, you can use may for a very polite way of asking for permission, like may I leave now, and can I have a word with you, both of them for asking for permission. The other function is the idea of request. Request is to ask for something. For request, you can use could for a more polite and more formal usage, like could you fill this form for me, please? And the other one, can you help me? Let's try to do this exercise. Ahmed, you help me with the boxes, please. So a request, can or could. Can you help me with this box, please? We not meet tomorrow. Future, I'm going to go to the dentist. So we can't meet tomorrow. Can is for ability. Mr. Sawyer, not see you now. Now for the present, ability in the present, cannot see you now. You swim when you were a child. No, I couldn't. Notice that we're having two keywords. Could you swim when you were a child? And no, I couldn't swim. Imad stay for long. His friends are waiting for him. Ability, so he can't stay for a long time. And notice that the verb after the auxiliary is just the base form of the verb. Okay, I guess that is it for the lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.